Uh, this is just a response to what T-Girl 15 said about fear of transitioning. Um, when I heard that, it kind of reminded me of my situation, so I just wanted to just kind of express that. When I was about 20, I mean, ever since I was 13, I was aware of transgender people. You know, that you can change from male to female. And I've always thought about it. And when I was 20, I was in the park one day, and I saw this man lying there in the grass. And it looked sort of like a homeless person, but slightly feminine. And as he was laying down in the grass, you know, I noticed that it looked like he had, you know, breasts. So he, you know, asked me for money. And I realized this was a transgender person. So I said, you know, yeah, I'll give you $5, but if you can tell me where you got the hormones. So then she pointed to this place across the street, this transgender clinic that was right across the street. And I was afraid to go in there because, again, I'm worried about what, you know, my family might think, you know, what my friends might think. Somehow if I walk in the door, you know, it will somehow, you know, get back to my family, oh, you know, you came into the transgender clinic. So it took me 2 years to get the nerve to go inside the clinic. And then it took another 2 years before I got on hormones because, you know, the psychiatrist there kept saying, you know, oh, you know, you're just a cross-dresser. So after about 2 years, I finally got on hormones. And I didn't like injecting myself, so I would show up every other Wednesday for 6 years and take hormones. And every time I would go into the lobby and wait there, I would see a lot of other transgender people there. But they were all a lot older. They were in their, you know, late 30s, 50s, 60s, and most of them looked like men in dresses. And I kept saying to myself, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. I mean, I saw, you know, every now and then I run into a male. Most of them, female to male transgender men there looked pretty convincing. But the male to female, they didn't really look that convincing to me. So I kept saying, you know what, I'm not gonna be like that. So I'm just gonna stay like a guy. I'm just gonna keep taking hormones and stay like a guy, and then poof, one day I'll be a girl. And I would show up, you know, every 2 weeks for roughly 6 years, you know, and take hormones. And over the 6 years, you know, the only thing I noticed right away was breast development. I mean, that happened within like 5 months, you know. So I wore like a sports bra or a sports top with a shelf bra on it. You know, most people didn't even know anyway. So because I have broad shoulders, they're like, "Wow, you really work out." So, no, I don't really work out. You know, I don't work out at all. But it looked like it because I was wearing the shirt that held me down, and I mean, I still wear that today. But otherwise, I didn't see me changing, and I kept thinking I'm just gonna change over you know, overnight. I mean, this is like before, you know, the internet really took off in YouTube. I mean, this was like, you know, a decade ago. And the only time I'd see young people around my age, they were like in these porno mags, and you know, it wasn't like, you know, normal everyday people I would see. And the only time I would see other transgender people would be like on the street, on the corners in certain parts of the city, you know, at night, and they would all be older, and you can all tell that they're, you know, they're guys. So I mean, like I said, I didn't want the people around me to know I was transgender. I didn't even cross dress in public because I was afraid. And the reason why I'm doing this is to tell people, you know, you should have the courage to do it. And I'm sort of a hypocrite because I'm still sort of afraid to do it. And even my doctor would tell me, you know, at times she would say, you know, you look pretty feminine. You know, even though I had a guy haircut and everything, you know, I started to look more like a tomboyish female than a guy changing from male to female. But I didn't see it because I saw myself every day, and because I didn't really have many friends. Naturally, I don't have that many friends. You know, no one was there to tell me. No one was there to really, you know, say that. to me, hey, you know, you're changing it, and maybe I could have done something, but I was just too afraid. I was too afraid to step out. And eventually, after 6 years, I stopped. Saying, wait, this is not working. I'm not changing at all. But I mean, I didn't even try. I just took hormones. That's it. I didn't do anything else. You know. And about a year ago, I was looking at a picture on my 28th birthday. I happened to be with my mom, and she took me to dinner. You know, it was like a total fluke. You know, because I don't really, you know, hang out with my mom that much. But I happened to see her around my 28th birthday. Anyway, the point is, I was in our house, and I was going up the stairs, and I was looking at this picture of me on my 20th birthday, and I saw my face, and I was like, wow, I look very feminine in that picture. But the thing is, I knew how I looked now because I'd stopped taking hormones for 2 years at that point, and I completely went back, you know, and I'm looking at that picture, and I'm like, you know, wow, you know, if I knew, I could have done something, you know, and that's my regret. So it's not necessarily what she was talking about in the video, but that's pretty much my regret. If I'd stuck with it, or maybe if I, you know, hung around a community, then maybe things would be different. So you don't want to do that. And also, when I stopped for 3 years, you know, my hair moved back. I mean, you look at this, my hairline's going back. You know, I mean, I look at that every day. I can't, you know, little things, you know, little things, you know, it's hard. So I mean, you know, if you know, you got to get the courage, and you just got to move forward. You have to go outside. You have to, you know, try women's clothes. You know, go out in public, kind of get used to that. You know, you shouldn't let other people and other things distract you. I mean, another reason why I didn't stop taking hormones for 3 years was because I'd met a girl, and she, you know, I really, really liked this girl, and she pretty much was saying, you know, you shouldn't change, you should stay the way you are. And I can understand that from her point of view. I mean, she was a woman missionary. You know, I mean, it was platonic. We didn't do anything like that. You know, she was a missionary at the time, but we totally made plans when she finished her 2 years. She was gonna go to school out here, and you know, we were gonna, you know, well, we were gonna move in together, and we had totally planned it out. But I told her, you know, I said, you know, I told her how I really felt, and how, you know, I don't know if I can be masculine enough for you, because I know how I feel, and I know I go through these mood swings, and I go in and out of them. You know, I can try to stay masculine for so long, but eventually I know I'm gonna either have to cross dress at the very least, you know, and well, she couldn't. I mean, that wasn't good enough for her, because even if I wasn't going to transition, I mean, there was some sort of femininity that I had to hold on to, at the very least, and you know, and we broke up, and 5 months after that, I was saying to myself, you know, I gotta get back on hormones, I gotta get back on it again, I have to start over again, but you know, here we go, it was like a decade later, so that's pretty much what I wanted to share. Also, this is another question, since I'm talking to you now. When you went through the feminization surgery, you said that you moved your scalp forward. Yeah. I mean, I know this may sound like a stupid question, but how did that work? Because if you move your scalp forward, I mean, what happens in the back? I mean, you figure. I mean, you gotta have some skin in the back if your whole scalp moves forward. And I can see hair transplant, but they take care from the front, put it in the back. But I mean, what happens to the back of your head? I mean, where does the extra skin come from if your scalp is moving forward? You know, that part I didn't get. I mean, I'm not trying to be silly. I really don't know. That part I really don't understand. Also, if anyone out there has heard of hybrid hair transplantation, if you've heard of that, you know, please send me a comment, because I've never heard of that, and I've heard of it, but I've only heard of it through YouTube, and I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's better than just regular hair plugs or what. So that's basically it.